Hey everybody, this is Rod, and I've got Kim and Doug with me, and we're going to give about 2 more minutes to get started because, well, I've got 6:59, but we'll probably give a minute or so for people to show up. So, how is everybody tonight? How many we got there, Douglas?
We got over, let's see. It's over 60 there tonight.
Really? Good sized audience. All right, so what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we're going to start out. I'm going to hand it over to Doug, and he's going to start with I had my list here. What did I do with it? Oh, he's going to start with showing you how to do some things in Discord, since we use Discord all the time as our means of communication. So being able to search for something that was back said a week or a couple days ago or a week ago is always a good thing. He's going to show you that. Then Kim's going to talk about troubleshooting. If you do a run in OTP Phantom and maybe it didn't seem to run right, or your pages aren't showing, or perhaps it seems like it's maybe stuck, Kim will talk about some of the things that we found that you could do to check and see what's going on with it. And then she's going to pass it back to Doug. He'll add anything that he's found within the area of troubleshooting. And then he's going to talk about the
foreign languages.
Yeah, foreign languages. Thank you. And then finally, if we have time, some questions have come up about using the rotator, using a rotator script. And so I'm going to talk about why you might want to do that and how you go about doing that. So that's our plan for tonight. And obviously we'll probably allow some time for questions and answers. And let's get right to it. So, Dougie, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. If you can quit sharing your screen, perfect. All right. I'm sure most of you are familiar with seeing Discord. It's this little box up here that I want to give you some hints on tonight. The search box is actually very powerful. And I'm sure many of you haven't had the chance to really get yourself to know what happens there. But similar to like Skype or any other program, when you want to do a find, you can just do Control F and it pops up. And what it's doing is it's showing a special command called in. And it's saying in this group, which is what our group is called, now I can do a search. And this is helpful for people that are in more than one Discord group. If you just go into the search box, you'll see all the special commands that you can use. Now, these last three, before, during, and after, are date specific. So if you have a date specific search you're looking for, that might be worth doing. I don't find them all that useful. The two that I find the most useful are from and has. From being from a user. So for instance, if say we wanted to find all the posts that Cliff made, because I just want to go over and check if I've missed anything. Maybe I've been away for a week. I can quickly do that, and now I can see all the posts that Cliff has made. And it makes it really easy to go back through and find out, catch up with what I want to try and get what's been said from him. I may want to do that with Rod or Kim or whatever it might be, or I have something that maybe I want to search for, click here, from Kim, and I want to pick Kim Smith, and it shows me all her posts, but I want it to do with the webinar. So I can now type a word in. Now, any post that Kim's made with the word webinar in it, I'm going to see it. Now, another really useful thing to do is, let me cancel the last search, is the command has, H-A-S colon. And when I type in the colon, look at all the options I have here. I can look for posts that have a link or have an embed, a file, a video, images, sounds. So if, say you wanted to find a particular video, you go has a video. Now, all the videos that have been posted in the last little while are going to show up in your search. And you can go look and see if there's something you've missed or you're looking for one that you wanted to watch again. It's a really quick way to find any videos. Now, I'm going to show you one other. There was a question this morning. Marty did a video recently on the phantom maps. So I can go from well, actually, let me make sure that's clean, right? Control F. Come on, search. From Marty. And there he is there. And then I put here phantom maps. Oh, actually, better than that, rather than typing that in. Easier to do. Has a video. So there's the videos Marty's posted lately, and the very first one is the one using phantom maps. So try and use some of these little commands. Play around with them, do some searches and see what you can find. You'll find that this really makes it easy when you're going back looking for something. So it's just one way to try and get yourself some help really quick when you know you saw something, you want to go look for it. This is a really good way. Might be from somebody, might be a particular thing you're looking for, or you've been away for a little while and you just want to catch up. You might want to see certain posts that a particular person's made, or look at all the videos that have been posted lately. That's basically all I wanted to cover. Check out the search bar. Just click in it, see all the options, play around. If you did a search and you want to go back and look at that particular thing again in the search, it will show a list of the searches that you've just done. So you can quickly just go back and click on it, and it will redo that that search for you. And that's all I had to say about searches. And
very helpful, Doug.
I gotta switch screens here because I can't see if there's any questions.
No.
Okay, good. All right, well then let me stop sharing and get back to Kim. You are going to do your presentation now?
Yep.
And there's your screen, and away you go.
All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to do a little bit of troubleshooting. Why is my site not working? And there could be a few reasons for this. And I went ahead and done a little project here earlier. And this is just an old site that I had that I kind of used for testing. So I cleared out public HTML. One thing you don't want is WordPress in here. And when you use it for Phantom, you want this empty, so nothing interferes with it. So what I did over here is made my run here, And this is the uploads. And what I'm going to do is show you where I put this add in here. I'm going to go up here to upload. I always put my first project in the root domain, the public HTML, because I have nothing else in there. So if you, Doug went over this, I think Doug or Rod went over this last week or week before. If you already have files in there, you want to make sure you click this, you override existing files. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these. And this is my project folder. And I'll show you where I went. So this is my projects, my project name, and in my uploads folder. And then I highlight all of them. And I'm just going to drag them over here. That's the way I like to do it. And we can see that it's all green to go. All right. So let's refresh that. And there's all my files there. So you can see here on Phantom, I only have the root domain here. So what we'll do is, to test it, I'm going to open my sitemap, copy that and paste it, and we'll see, make sure it's working. Yep. Okay. So now I'm going to make a new folder in here so I can put more campaigns in there. So I'm coming up here to folder, going to click that, and I'm going to call it it's natural weight loss. In there, and create new folder. So there's my new folder. So this time, when I do Phantom, I'm going to use an advanced options. And usually I close it and open it between them. And so I hope this works. And I'm going to clone existing project. And select the weight loss one. And since it's going to be going to the same destination, there's the project name. And this is going to be the URL. So you can see how I added natural weight loss on there because I have this, I just made this new folder. So you want to make sure that you have that on there. So that's completed. And I will open the projects folder. I'm going to open natural weight loss and open the upload folder. And I'm going to open this one now and upload. And select all. I'm going to drag them in there. I'm going to reload that. And there's all my, and I want to talk to you about the difference between a file and a folder. Some people are getting their terms mixed up. So this is a folder right here. And all these are files. So anything that goes in this folder is a file.
Unless, of course, it's another folder. You can have folders, and then a bunch of files in all of those.
Right. But that's not a good idea when we're doing phantoms.
Right.
So, okay, so I am going to test this one again. We'll get, let's take this top one. We'll test it. Yep, that worked too. So you can see how if you don't put this on the end of your URL when you put it in Phantom, then so what it would look like would be that's not it. So that's what the URL would look like. That's going to go in this folder, your subdirectory.
It's real important that you have the exact same. Notice she called it natural weight loss, and you want to make sure that you put it in exactly like that, natural weight loss. One little misspelling or even capitalization can matter in certain browsers. So you're best to just make sure that you name the folder exactly what you have in that square.
Yeah. So if your pages aren't turning up right, go in and check, where you have your files at, and see if you've got your URLs and your files mixed up possibly. Also, if you're getting a 404 error on your pages, you can go, you go up here to settings and you can click show hidden files. You will see there's an htaccess file here that normally doesn't show up. If you're getting 404 errors, go re-upload this htaccess and make sure you check that to override previous files. Excuse me. And that usually fixes that problem. Okay, is there any questions on that?
Not so far.
Okay.
Well, we're just gliding through. This must be all old hat to everybody watching, because they're like, okay, I already got that. I already understand that.
Okay.
Any troubles anybody's having with that they want to ask a question about?
Okay, I guess we pass it back to Doug, and he can add any tidbits he has on troubleshooting, and then talk about foreign languages.
Okay, well, basically, Kim's covered it all pretty well. I'm glad she went over the differences between files and folders, because a lot of people are making that mistake, and we really need to ask a lot of questions in order for us to be able to help you with your questions. Otherwise, we're not quite in the same headspace. You've been looking at it for the last hour, and we're just getting there. So bear with us when we're asking you the questions, but we need to make sure that we understand what you're actually trying to share with us. Okay, getting to... Okay, so with cloning, you don't have to rerun Phantom. That is correct. No need to run it. It goes through all the files and changes the URL for you. So everything's already built. There's no need to rerun Phantom for a clone.
When you're cloning, one of the best parts about cloning is that you don't have to rerun it. And when you're cloning something, it basically just gives you a chance to go in and change either the folder that you're keeping it in or the destination if you wanted to. When we talk about using rotators, we'll look at that part again. But generally, it's going to just give you an opportunity to rename the project and change the name of the folder that you're keeping the project in. And that's what we're going to use quite often.
I'm sure there's many times people have tried reusing a project sort of like a template, and they've gone and run Phantom, and then they realize, oh, I never changed my directory. Well, now you can just call up that project with the cloning, change the directory, and boom, it's done without having to rerun Phantom again. So if you make that mistake, it's a good way to save yourself a lot of effort.
If you remember, Clip also has a video in there about how could you change the destination. It's a very easy video, and you just go into one file, and I can't remember what's the file's name, but you go into one file, edit it, and you're all done. So you could easily change the destination of any, if you wanted to say change an offer or what have you. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. Go ahead, Doug.
Okay. Always the same question about cloning. No, the pages will not be the same because an OTP site has no pages when you upload it. It creates them once it's been uploaded. When it creates them, it randomly creates your pages. And by randomly, we really mean randomly. So although it may have the same title, the actual article for that page will be different. Okay. And let me get this up. Like that. Okay. Foreign languages. Let's have a quick chat about that. I'm actually going to reduce the size of this a bit. So here's a little project I've got set up to go. My niche is dog training. I've gone and selected an offer I want to promote. This is the site I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to put it in the directory dog training. And here's all my English keywords. Now, I've decided I want to do this in French as well because I have a French contingent here in Canada. So I'd like to see if I can get some of them to see what I've got to offer. So what I would do is I can grab all my keywords here. And in this case, because it's a small list, I can just go straight to Google Translate. Kim showed you before how to use keyword lingo for longer lists, and that's still the best way to go. But I'll use Google Translate to show you what would happen with this method because we haven't displayed that one before. So I just paste my words in there and it comes up. I've already got French is already selected. So there's all my words. So there's a little icon here to copy that. I just copy that. And then what I like to do is I like to go to the bottom of my list and I go So there's my keywords. And now I want to grab my titles. Now this one's going to be slightly different, and we'll try and explain this as simply as possible. Okay, I've got my list here. Google Translate will only allow you to translate up to 5,000 characters. I have a list of 100 titles here, and as you can see, they're not long titles, but that already is 2,247 characters. So you can only do short lists in Google Translate. You may get up to a couple hundred lines, depending on how long your titles are. So just be aware of that fact. If you're doing short lists, this is great. If you're doing the longer list, then do as Kim showed in the previous webinar and use keyword lingo. And it'll, the nice thing about keyword lingo is that if you're going to be targeting more than one language, especially, you can set your keywords up in English. Click all the languages that you want to do, hit the button, it'll create them all at once. So it's a real time saver if you're doing multiple languages. So as you can see, when we get into these foreign languages, some of these characters have accents. Now where accents become a problem is when we get into the URL on a browser. See all these words up here? There's no accents on any of them. And if you go searching with, matter of fact, I'm sure we could probably do that just by grabbing any Google search result is not going to show you any accents. And why they don't do that is that the rules don't allow accents in a URL. Well, all our titles become part of our URLs because it's our domain / our directory / our title.html is the page name. So we have to make sure that we exclude all the characters and just change like this E with an accent above it just to a plain E. The search engines understand it still, but we have to do that for the rules involved. Now there's a great little site here, excuse me, that I believe it was Honor posted in the group here a couple of weeks ago. And it's a great little tool, miniwebtool.com/remove-accent/. And I'll put that in the group here in a minute. But all you have to do is to come over here, paste your list in. And as you can see, they all have accents. I click remove accents. Now, believe it or not, the job is done. I come down here and it is in this lower box here now. This list has no accents anymore. So Control A, Control C, come back to my list, down to the bottom, and there's the list in French that I'm going to use. All the accents have been stripped out, so the titles are now really good for OTP. And in reality, that is all there is to doing a foreign language with OTP. Are there any questions with what I showed or what you didn't think I showed? Does keyword lingo remove question marks? No, you would remove the question marks by using this site again.
John wants to know what is the link to keyword lingo. It's actually in the domain. It's in your locust word control panel, but I can also provide a link in a minute if you really need it.
Okay, one other step I should have actually shown now that I think about it.
Remove duplicates.
Yeah, you got to get into the habit when you're creating lists to take your list, throw it into the remove duplicates tool inside of Link Swarm. And just in case, click that, and that's the list that you should be saving. So try to remember to do that whenever you're doing lists. Especially if you're creating multiple lists, keep them all together, make them one, put them in the remove duplicates tool. And as you saw, it's very quick at even doing large lists. Let it go through, it'll remove blank lines, it'll remove any duplicates that might have been caused by removing accents and so on. And it just keeps your list nice and clean.
Does the content come up in the language of your content keywords? Yes, it does. That's the whole point of doing of changing your main keywords, the 4 main keywords, and your list of titles. Is that all you got, Dougie?
That is basically it, but just to show something as well, if we go to a Google search and we post in that, basically what OTP is doing is like doing a Google search. It comes here and it finds the top pages for that title, that keyword, I should say. So if that was the keyword we're doing, here's the page it's going to go find content on. And as you can see, all that content will have the right language. Now, it's not impossible that you get English, because some foreign language sites do have English on them as well. But in most cases, it'll be the language of choice.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just looking at other questions here.
Todd asked me to repeat, which was basically about the question that if I put in 4 main keywords in Spanish and then I put in all my titles in Spanish, I'm going to get, in most cases, Spanish content.
Correct.
And then I got asked, or Jose was asking, if how many languages can I do simultaneously with Phantom? Each run, you're only going to want to do 1 language per project. So I could do the same project over and over again, leaving the same main keywords just translated and the same titles just translated, and now change my project from fishing lures English to fishing lures Spanish, or whatever other language I'd like to use. But I can only do 1, unlike some previous tools, we allowed you to do multiple languages at a time. It generally just messed people up. So we've basically taken it back to do 1 language at a time. Everybody clear on that? And I went ahead and put in the URL for that tool that Doug was talking about, miniwebtool.com/remove-accent. Okay. So now, if you want, are you planning on passing it back to me, Doug, or?
I certainly can. Have we covered all the questions there? It seems like we have.
You know, it's always kind of funny that when we're planning these webinars, I was thinking that I might not even have time to cover what I'm covering, and we're only 28 minutes into the webinar or so, and this is so. You just can't know until you know how many questions are going to come up during something that plan exactly the right amount of content to fill the hour.
There was one question there about, do you erase the English words? When you do when you do a language project, you are creating a new project. Basically, it's as if you have a blank Phantom. All these go in here without the English being there. You do not mix the languages. You just do a single project for each language. Okay, Rod, I will hand her back to you.
All right. I believe I want this one. Which screen are we seeing here? No, I got the wrong one. Try again. The problem is when I'm looking at the pictures of my screens, they're usually not correct. It shows one screen is hard to explain, but the what screens it's showing me isn't what I see when I actually show that screen. So now you're seeing a picture of Link Swarm, and you know that Link Swarm is a tool that we keep in our it's in the locus word control panel, but most of us, because Link Swarm has so many different little tools to use, it's so handy, and you know you're going to use it a lot for your phantom runs. I just pin it to my taskbar typically and make sure it's nice and handy. So we're going to talk a little bit first about the rotation tool, and we're going to talk a little bit about some reasons why I might want to use this rotation tool or link rotation script. How many people know what split testing is? Few people, yep. Does anybody not really know what split testing is? Yeah, Marty doesn't. Of all the people I would guess probably do know split testing even better than me, I would say probably Marty. Okay, so what is split testing? It's simply splitting. It's basically sending part of my traffic to one thing and part of my traffic to another thing, so I can see which one converts best. And the true marketers, the ones that are really good at their game, they always do a ton of split testing. You can do things like, if you're designing the pages yourself, for example, you can split test different headlines. You can split test different colors of the headlines. You can split test every little buy button. You know, does this bigger buy button convert better than the smaller buy button? You know, does this particular, every graphic you can, so you can really get involved in split testing. With us though, even when we're beginners, sometimes we'll have, say, more than one product that fits our niche. For example, let's say I'm doing list building as my niche, and I go looking for list building products, and there's two pretty good products. One's all about how to build a list and how to get people to building great squeeze pages. And there's another one that how to drive traffic to your offers, so that you really, they both look like good products, and you're not really sure which one might convert best, because that's what you really care about, is putting the right product in front of your audience. So the people that are typing in and searching for list building tools or list building courses, you're trying to find the thing that they most desire, the thing that makes them just go, oh, I gotta have that. So it's often a great idea to take two different products or two different affiliate links and see which one. When you first would look at them both and see if which one makes you want to hit the buy button. But after that, it's sometimes a good idea to do a split test and send a few hundred or a few thousand clicks to each offer and gather some statistics about which offer seems to be converting best. And this is a great tool for allowing you to do that. So I open up the link rotation script in here, and there's just a few spaces I need to fill in. I need to first name my rotation script, and I can name it anything I want, except for, don't ever name it index. Don't ever put the word index in there, because index is reserved for the operating system. Any page that's got index in it, it's likely to be called up first. So we don't want to call it anything to do with index. And we could call it rotation script 1, or we could call it rotator 1, or in my case, I just like to name it something short so I can make sure I don't mess that up. And I just call mine rod 1, or it could be, I could call it R1 if I wanted to. The only thing that I need to be careful of is I need to name it the exact same thing that I would have in my destination of my, in other words, you'll notice here, I told it what domain I'm going to put the script in, and I told it the exact same name as my destination URL. So I need to make sure that the name of my rotator script exactly matches right here. Even capitalization can matter. So I put it all lowercase rod1.php, and that's in fact what you'll notice that it adds the .php. So I'm going to make sure that this name is exactly what I have right here in this spot. Is that clear? So then I take my 2 links to my products and I just paste them in here. I could have 4 or 5 if I wanted to. And the next thing I'm going to put in this other space right here is what percentage would I like to send to each offer. In other words, I could make this 25, 75, or as long as the sum total of these numbers has to equal 100. So I couldn't do like 23 and 65. It's going to be like, okay, what do I do with the rest? Understand? So the sum total of all the numbers here, you're going to put a number for each item, and that's the percentage of clicks that it's going to send to each of those offers. Then I just click create rotator, and it immediately makes one and places it on my desktop. So I can go look at it real quick and see if I did it correct. The way I could look at it, I've got it over here. I probably should have made it like rod 2 because I created a rod 1 earlier. So let's just call it rod 2 and do it again. And now over here on another screen, it has created me a rod 2. I'll drag it over here. I'll right click on it and choose an editor to open it with. When that happens, I can look at the file real quick and it will show me that, yes, these are the 2 links it's sending to. And these are the percentage of clicks. I don't want to usually try to edit any, go in there and edit the code. I just can look at it real quick and make sure that it's saying what I intended, which is it's got the 2 links of the different products that I had affiliate links for, and there's the percentages. Then I'm going to I like to move files by using FileZilla, but you could use the file manager inside your cPanel, but I like to use FileZilla. So because I told it that if you remember, I told it I was going to put it in rodsgiftideas.club, and then I called it rod1.php for the first one. since I decided to rename it, I can rename this to Rod2.php because that's the last one I did. And then I'm going to go open my file manager, my site manager, I should say. Find rodsgiftideas.club, connect. And I'm going to go find the root directory, which is public HTML. And I would take Rod2 and just drag it in here and drop it right there. That's all there is to it. So I could use File Manager to do the same thing, as long as I get the file in the place where I specified that it was going to exist. And really, this could be any site you have online, as long as you know it's going to stay online. It doesn't have to be the place where you're doing your OTP. It doesn't have to be the same place that your money page is. As long as it's a place that you know is going to be available and online 100% of the time, because you don't want your traffic going to nothing. And then you would just drag it into the appropriate public HTML. Or it could also be in a folder if you wanted to put a /some folder /rod2.php. You could do it that way too, as long as you get the destination the exact same as what you told it was going to be. Then, whenever I wanted to, let's say my offers changed, or I decided, you know what, one of these is converting way better than the other, I'm going to take all my traffic and send it to a particular offer. I can then just go create a new rotator script, and perhaps I'd get rid of one and just make it 100, or I could change the two offers, change the percentages, and just create a new script. And I just want to make sure that I keep the name, whatever this name was here, so I can edit the file, or I can just go create a new one that's called Rod2, because again, this one was called Rod2. Is that clear? Clear as mud? So where I use that most often is in split testing, but I can use it for a lot of different things, really. Any questions on that?
So far, none. Well,
we're a little bit early, but I don't have a whole lot left of content to cover. I suppose it won't break your heart to get out of here 15 minutes early or so. Hopefully by next week, we might be talking about some new tools. I can never tell for sure, though, because we don't, we never know if something's totally ready to go, including sales pages, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't get a lot of advance notice for when something's actually launching, but that's what makes it fun and challenging. So hopefully we'll be talking about some new tools, and then there's a learning center coming that's going to be here very quickly. We're doing the final beta testing on the learning center, so you should have lots of new courses and content to absorb about various marketing topics. So we got a lot coming. Stay tuned, guys. And with that, did Doug or Kim have anything else they wanted to add?
No, everybody's just saying thanks.
Just have a pleasant good evening.
All right, you guys, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. You have a good night.
Good night.